Hello, everyone, and welcome to what was formerly, I would say, the podcast that is yet to be named. But we have a name. We promised we'd get it to you guys. We finally have it. So, welcome to the Too Much Film podcast, the weekly podcast where we talk about movies, TV, anime, and a few things in between. We got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5. Then we're going to be going into a segment where we respond to your comments from some of the clips and from the podcast last week, talking about Attack on Titan, chapter 139. And then after that, we're going to be reacting to the new trailer for the Shang-Chi movie. So,
yeah.
We got a lot on your. I don't even know what to say. Don't even know what to say. My mouth today is not working.
We got so much going on up here recently. We've been flowing ideas out and different things to do for you guys. So yeah, and the name, it was super simple, but apparently wasn't a thing. So
yeah,
we stole that. We stole that.
We didn't steal that actually. We
snagged it.
Yeah, we somehow got it. Yeah, we hope you guys like the logo. It was a little difficult because the people I was working with, I don't think they spoke English as their first language, so trying to get the idea I was really going for was tough. So
I mean, it's a simple logo.
Yeah, it's decent.
It's gonna work.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be easy to have someone replicate it at some point, but yeah. All right, well. Anyway, all that aside, I'm sure you guys would rather hear about the content that we're providing instead of all this. So, yeah, Jacob, you have more to say on this than I do. So,
I don't know. It's about episode 5. Episode 5 was a lot more downtime.
Yes,
took a break from the plot. Focus more on the character development. I mean, I've seen people not like the episode because it stopped the plot. But I liked the episode because it gave character development.
Yeah.
A lot of character development.
And I wouldn't even necessarily say that it stopped the plot. I think it just was a natural lull.
Yeah.
In what was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you have. I mean, obviously, the end of episode 4 was a big thing that happened, and the Flag Smashers kind of probably took a little bit of a. I don't want to say time off, but
recuperation.
A
rendezvous.
In the middle, like they had to, go and do everything they were doing in the States. It's not. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of character development. I mean, one of the scenes earlier on, actually, just the whole first sequence, I guess, of when, John Walker ran away from the scene and, went to that warehouse, and then Bucky and Sam followed him, and then they had that fight. I will say, that fight has showed me Marvel nerfed the hell out of Bucky.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it is funny because obviously, they didn't show it, but Walker did get the super soldier serum.
Yes.
They at least heavily imply that.
It's heavily implied and alluded to throughout the whole.
Yeah.
Like the past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Which, so obviously, they're similar enough in power, but obviously I do think that Bucky should have won that more convincingly, especially when you have an ally that's helping you at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest example is when Walker threw the shield at him. And through the shield, he caught the shield, but it made him go flying back until he hit some sort of machinery.
Yeah.
Right? But in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, he caught that thing just by whipping around with just the vibranium arm and catching the shield.
Yeah.
It didn't move whatsoever.
Which makes complete sense that he would catch that. I mean,
yeah. Why wouldn't he catch that to the same degree?
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, they do this all the time with this kind of stuff where they're like, it's like they always want to make it seem like they could lose. Because obviously, like, if they just won every fight convincingly, it's like, whoever...
There's no thrill in it.
Yeah, like, whoever comes up to them, they're just like, we're going to fight now. Just one punch.
Game.
Yeah, that's the end of it. Nothing to show. Or nothing really to keep you going. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, like, he got nerfed hella, and now you could blame that as, like, oh well, in in Captain America Winter Soldier, he was, the Winter Soldier. It's like, but no, it's like your muscle memory is all still there.
Yeah.
Or metal memory for Bucky's case.
Yeah, whatever that would be. I don't know.
But yeah, it's like your muscle memory is still there. Granted, it's both of their first fights in a couple of months, really, like hand to hand like that. But still, you know what I mean? It's just you nerf the hell out of the man.
Yeah, which, I mean,
I hope he needs to get some sort of upgrade. Like even though his nerf is just immediate in reality, because like you didn't really see much of him fighting.
Yeah.
Throughout, even in Civil War, he was still bomb as hell in Civil War, and the little bit he had in Endgame and Infinity War, like he was still on point.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, there's 6 months later, and this man just can't catch the shield.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, I mean, I mean, maybe he will get an upgrade. I mean, that's what I would hope for.
But like, it's just annoying to me because now from the series, Bucky is one of my favorite characters. Now, like, this series has showed Bucky, but really put him in the spotlight. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters now, and I never cared about him before.
Yeah.
But yeah, just his whole arc of trying to come to terms with everything. I actually saw there's this woman on TikTok who was a therapist, psychological therapist, essentially saying that Bucky has like two personalities, his Winter Soldier personality and his 1940s personality, pre-Winter Soldier, and now he's trying to figure out himself without all of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, really, I think my favorite thing about this show so far, other than kind of the return to normalcy, I guess, with the MCU, is just how interesting all of the themes and just character moments have been. I mean, I think that, I mean, really just all the themes. I mean, I almost want to say that there's none of the characters are necessarily the villain. I think it's more like government.
Yeah.
Or like
it's
just
societal based.
Yeah, like, I mean, because everybody has a point. I mean, you look like the Flag Smashers, like, they're not even that wrong. I mean, they, obviously they don't go about things in the best way, but they have a point. Obviously, like, you see things like how the black super soldier guy, I forget his name.
Isaiah Bradley.
Him, yeah. How he was talking about, like, yeah.
There are actually theories that he's the power broker.
Yeah, well, because somebody said that the grandson character, like, his name,
Eli Bradley.
Yeah.
He becomes the Patriot in the Young Avengers.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, that.
And technically in the comics, Isaiah Bradley was the first black Captain America.
Yeah, which I think. Yeah, I mean, it's just sad, like, knowing how, like, everybody just gets pain from what they've had to go through. I mean, you even go to Walker. I mean, he literally said, like you guys made me like this. Like, when he's talking. And obviously, I mean, I have a lot of anti-war views myself.
Yeah. And,
I think that it really does fuck up soldiers a lot. So seeing him bring that up, it's like, hey, yeah, you guys basically made me, like, I have all these mental problems, and they're because of you. You made me
who I am now.
Yeah. I mean, before that, I'm sure, he was just, a football player at his high school. I mean, maybe he was weird or, crazy or an asshole, but, like, he wasn't like, that crazy, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even, like, I've seen people over this theme, the racism theme, I've seen people online literally get attacked. There's this guy on TikTok, super reliable. He knows even more information about this stuff than I do. And he's one of the greatest analyzers, at least on TikTok, that I've seen about this type of content. I think his name is, like, his TikTok name is, like, Straw Hat Goofy. Something like that. Amazing. Like, every time the episode comes out, as soon as he watches the episode at like 1 a.m., he comes out with just a general video talking about it, and then he makes other videos the next day just talking about it way more in depth.
Yeah.
This man mentioned the racism theme like back in episode 1. People were attacking him, be like, it's not all about race. blah 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 blah. They called him slurs, like in his Instagram DMs and everything, because of this. It was absolutely horrible. And I'm like, if you are blind to this theme and don't want to have this conversation, don't watch it.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's a valid theme. It's not. I mean, like, we have to understand, that these things don't just go away. Yeah. Like, you can say that the laws are legal, or like they're equal, but like, just because the law is equal doesn't mean that everyone's going to accept that. I mean, it's not like, you have these like fervent racists back in the 60s, and then all of a sudden, like, the law is passed, and then they're just like, oh, okay, understandable, have a good day. Like, you're now equal to me. I don't hate you anymore. Like, that's just not how it works. And then you add in the fact that, like, if we were playing, like, let's say we're playing Monopoly, all right?
Okay, yeah.
And, like, you and I have been playing for, like, hours, and we have a shitload of money, a bunch of property, and then, I don't know, Blast comes over. He's like, oh, can I join in? And we say, yeah, sure. We give him the starting amount.
Yeah.
And say, good luck. He's going to lose. And
he's going to land on the first base, lose all of his money instantly, and lose.
Yeah. Like, it's, like, there's a certain point where, like, if you start off, like, even if the system on paper is fair, if you start late and aren't given any help to catch up,
yep,
you're going to die.
You're fucked.
Yeah, or even, like, say we're playing...
You're gonna die.
Yeah, well...
You're screwed.
Sorry. I was gonna say... Because I was... I was then gonna bring up a D&D analogy where I was gonna say, like, if if you're, like, a level 1 character joining a level 12 party, you're gonna die.
Yeah. You are indeed gonna die.
Like,
but...
Probably, at least.
But, yeah, it's like you come in just... so far down the totem pole compared to everyone else, and... it's insane. But the people who are saying these things, like, oh, not everything's about race, blah, 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 blah. Well, in this episode, they quite literally proved that it is about race. Isaiah Bradley literally said they will never let a black man be Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, which it's like... I get, like, sometimes, when people are like, I wish that they didn't... Like, I just want something that's simple, that doesn't make me think about all this bad stuff happening in the real world. But at the same time, it's like, well... But, like, this, like, even if I am in that mood, this theme doesn't upset me. Like, them talking about it. Because ultimately, like, you get through a scene. Because, I mean, you could watch another movie. Like, you could go, Captain America, Winter Soldier. There's scenes in between the action that are, they're talking about things that are sad. I mean, it could be about, it's not about race, but it's about, like, losing friends or something, or like, not fitting in.
You could be like, oh, I don't want to think about that.
Which it's like, I mean, just, apply that more broadly. Like, if you just want a movie that's 2 hours of just punching, it's like, okay. But, like, there's
nothing to that
That's
movie.
not going to be a good movie. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I mean, you should think when you leave a movie. I mean,
I think that's one of the major points. Like, I feel like if you don't think after you watch a movie, like, you're doing something wrong or the movie did something wrong.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, people were getting way too upset over this, and the people who found an issue in it, essentially, the point just goes right over their head. I mean, it's true. Even John Walker, this is one of my points. Like, John Walker essentially represents today's America.
Yeah, I could see that.
Whereas, like, Captain America represents the tone of America in the 40s, fighting in the war. Obviously, Steve has a lot more to him than that, but, like, you could make that argument very easily.
Well, that's almost, like, Steve is undoubtedly a good guy. Like, he's actually...
That's why he was chosen to take the serum.
But he would do things like jump on a grenade to save everyone, or
without any protection. Like he had no. This was before the serum.
Yeah.
In case.
I mean,
to jog your memory.
And it almost does line up to, like, how that was when America was a lot more undoubtedly good. It's like, we're fighting Nazis.
Selfless.
Nowadays it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and fight, or we're gonna go invade this country for their oil or something. Like, we're not,
or we're starting a war on terrorism, and yet it only did one good thing for us, and terrorism is still a thing today.
Yeah, I mean,
Like if we eradicated terrorism, great.
Yeah.
You did your job. Terrorism is no more.
Yeah, but us being there makes more of it.
Exactly.
Like, it's just funny because like our perception, like the people think of it the same way. We still like there's a lot of people that still just pretend that we're a great country going around like, but we
improving
but
everything.
We aren't.
But no,
we
we're
just
not.
aren't. Ever since Vietnam, we weren't. I mean, possibly even before that.
Possibly before like Korea. I mean, granted, Korea was. Some people consider it a victory. Some people consider it a stalemate. It's a stalemate.
Yeah.
Korea is split in two.
Yep.
It's a stalemate. But like, yeah, we didn't win that. We haven't won a war since World War II.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you have to. I mean, yeah. It's just. I mean, it really does show how. I mean, now you have a fucked up Captain America. That there's people undoubtedly in that world that are like pretending that it's the exact same person as Steve when it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
And in fact, it's a much worse version.
He's a person with his own troubles, his own past, just like Steve.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the way you deal with that makes the difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, John Walker, I don't know if you know, or if anyone watching this knows, there was an ender. It was him.
Yep.
And I'm so happy they didn't use the same clank noise as Tony.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy they didn't use the same hammer noise as Tony. Because at first I was like, I heard the bang, and I was like, is that the same hammer noise as Tony? And it wasn't. So I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
But he's becoming his comic book character, U.S. Agent. And now his costume is essentially the same, just without the white.
Yeah.
And, you know, the white in the American flag stands for purity. That purity in U.S. Agent is not there.
Yep.
So that's going to be very cool to see next episode. A couple of scenes, they kind of go hand in hand with each other. Is like, you know, Bucky dropping the bullets, like holding up the gun to Zemo's head, pulling the trigger, but nothing coming out. And like you can see, I always forget the actor's name. I think his first name is Daniel, who plays Baron Zemo. But Baron Zemo was like, almost seemed kind of relieved that he thought, oh, Bucky's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
But then when it clicked, nothing came out, and he dropped all of the bullets. Whew. You see his face change, and he's just like, he kind of goes from like a little smirk, being like, okay, I'm gonna be with my family again.
Yeah.
And then his face just goes dark. And I feel like Bucky dropping the bullets kind of just shows, and especially doing that with Zemo, shows that the Winter Soldier is no more. I think that's why, instead of it being called, you know, the Falcon and White Wolf, or like Captain America and White Wolf, it's the Falcon and Winter Soldier for a reason. Like, Sam is gonna no longer be the Falcon, and Bucky is no longer gonna be the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I think that actually, yeah, you just kind of unlock something for me there. But yeah, that sounds about right to me. I mean, it just seems.
And it's really good how they've done it so far.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. I mean, you know, obviously, there's a lot that I want to save for when we do the full series review next week. But yeah, this really has been. I mean, it's a great show, great episode, I think. I mean, you know, slowing it down. I mean, people. Yeah, I kind of touched on this at the beginning of the show, but people really don't like when it slows down.
Yeah.
But like, there's times where like when there's a chance to have a slow down moment, and you need to have a big character moment, like,
yeah,
you should. I mean, that there's a lot that needed to be discussed. At least, you know, I thought so.
Yeah. There was a lot to discuss just in general, and a lot of development for the characters' relationships as a whole. I mean, if you remember the talk between Sam and Bucky when, like, you know, Sam was training with the shield.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that talk was absolutely amazing. I think Bucky, and this was one of my favorite lines from the beginning, from the first or second episode, I believe, where Buck was saying, well, if Steve was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me. And he essentially was telling Sam, it's like his whole thought process behind it being like, oh, well, if Steve put all this faith in you to continue on this legacy, this complicated legacy, and what he said, once you gave away that shield, it put doubt in himself.
Yeah.
Bucky was like, well, okay, if Sam did this and Steve thought he was gonna take up the mantle, and if Steve was wrong about that, then Steve was wrong about me.
Yeah, yeah, and I like, I mean, in that conversation from this episode, how he basically tells Bucky, like, you have to go and, like, you can't really, you're not gonna help yourself by just apologizing and going and saying I'm sorry, or
feeling bad for yourself.
Yeah, or like going and
Self-pity.
killing people that harmed you. It's like, no, just go and, like, offer your service, actually try to help people, make things better.
I think that's why their dynamic, essentially, their relationship at the beginning of the series was very rough.
Yeah, obviously it was a funny kind of rough. I mean, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But
because they are clearly have like two different personality types and two different worldviews, which I think is great. But like that's like what a friendship is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, at the beginning of the series, they just kind of referred to each other as, oh, he's a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
But now it's like they are friends.
Yeah.
Like Bucky stayed with his family in Louisiana, helped fix the boat and everything. And I find it so funny that he's right-handed, and every time Sam's like, why didn't you use the metal arm? He's like, I'm right-handed.
Yeah. Man, and yeah, there's been so many, like, just wise quotes in this series. Like, I love when they were like, or when Sam, in the first episode, when he was like, when they were introducing what the Flag Smashers were about, and he was, they're like, oh yeah, they think that life was better before, everyone came back. And then he says, like, yeah, well, that's always how it is, when things get better for one group, they get worse for another. I'm like, yes. And then
yes.
And then it's like, this group, they're like, we hate that group. We shouldn't they're making life bad for us. And then that group, when the tables turn, it's the same exact thing. I don't know what it is with all these stories about hatred recently, but
I mean, there is all these things have very valid points. There's a lot of hate in the world.
Yeah, and
I mean, they're addressing this hate essentially in multiple different mediums too.
Yeah, in
different ways. But yeah, I don't know if you remember, but there was a cameo in the episode, which at this point in time wasn't really a cameo. It was supposed to be a cameo, but really what didn't turn out to be because Black Widow got pushed back. You remember the woman who talked to John Walker after his court case?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She was actually supposed to debut, her name's Val, she was supposed to debut in Black Widow.
Yeah.
But because of the timing and everything, she debuted in this, and of course all the producers and show writers were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a cameo, you're all gonna like it. Everyone didn't have a single flying fuck of who that woman was.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, because I did hear, like, from watching videos about it, like, I know a little bit about her now.
So do I,
but,
yeah.
But at that point, I was like, okay, clearly, like, she's somebody, but, like, because her name is long as hell for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they obviously just a timing thing. That's.
I found out through my research that she's in the comics. She's Madam Hydra.
Yeah, that's it.
She's I believe she's kind of like the last remnant of Hydra, essentially. But yeah, obviously, we don't know much about her.
Yeah.
At all. Obviously, she's trying to work with John Walker in some way, shape, or form. Some people think she's the power broker.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see, because it's still very early on in this phase. I mean, we're almost, I mean, in a way, like, starting a whole new thing. So there's a lot. Yeah. I mean, 10 years from now, we'll look back on this and we'll probably be like, wow, there were so many things that got introduced back then, like, we didn't even realize, or...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about, it's so crazy to think about that this whole MCU thing could be going on by the time we're we're tired.
We could just be dead.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be dead and it could still be going.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if they would. I think eventually they'd want to give it an ending.
Obviously, I hope they would.
Well, because eventually they're gonna run out of characters.
Run out of characters, run out of antagonists. Like, there's gonna be an end to it eventually.
Because well, of course they're gonna eventually want to reuse characters too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're gonna be like, oh, we want to do a new Iron Man, which it's like that whoever that new Iron Man is probably gonna suck in comparison. Like, they might not even be that bad on their own.
An MCU reboot, something. But yeah, overall, it was a needed episode. That downtime kind of gave it the same tone as original Captain America, and the Captain America like trilogy kind of gave me the same vibe, the same tone, with it, which I really enjoyed. And I noticed it midway through the episode. I was like, this feels like Captain America. Feels like I'm watching something about Captain America.
Yeah.
And it was nice. That's how I can. That's the only way I think it's fitting.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was needed, nice, and more turned down, which is what was obviously how you put it was a necessary lull.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the in the show.
Obviously they could have done it earlier, but I think it hits more after you've had some time with the characters. Like,
Yes.
you know, if they had that conversation during the training at the beginning, I don't think it would have hit as hard because you wouldn't have seen enough of the struggle for it to be impactful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good episode, good series so far. I mean, I'm looking forward to the finale.
So am I. Seeing what was in that case.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably new wings, something.
Vibranium wings.
Vibranium wings.
See,
Yeah, that's gotta
Sam
be
is getting a huge ass upgrade.
No, you know
Bucky
what
needs
you know what
one.
I think Bucky's upgrade could be the bullet reflection thing. Like, you know how like it takes in the Black Panther thing where it takes in the kinetic energy and then you can
That
dispel
would
it.
be cool. He
Yeah.
has that like in his arm
Yeah, so he could like maybe
or in like a suit.
well, he could maybe like focus it so like, you know,
And he
whenever
could
he
put a
whenever he
beam.
punches with that, he could just something like
Or he
that.
could like eject like a beam of energy. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, he needs something. I think he'll get it. You know, unless they take the route where it's like his upgrade is a character upgrade. Like
Yeah.
like he gets past. It's almost like he had like a mental debuff, and he's just getting rid of that debuff now.
Even though with what we've seen so far, that debuff is kind of at least upped his physicality.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's all about catching the damn shield, bro. Should have had him catch the damn shield.
Yeah.
And we'd be fine. We wouldn't be claiming that he's nerfed.
Yeah.
If
Well,
he
I'm
just
not even
caught the
talking
damn
about that.
shield.
I'm just talking about like the fact that he's fucked up in the head.
Yeah,
but,
that too.
You know.
He's getting through that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
that would be his upgrade at the end. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid episode. Honestly, I'd give it.
well, we'll continue with that. Once again, we got a little tiny technical difficulty, but don't worry about that. So yeah, it's a good episode. We're looking forward to it, and we will, we'll be doing our full review next week.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for the first half of this, and we will be back after the break with our comment comeback.
I knew I should have charged the damn thing.
All right, guys, we're back from the break, and we tried to record this one time, and we forgot to record it.
Well, we recorded it on the phone,
Yep.
which is what we're using now because my dumbass forgot to charge the camera battery. But we forgot to record the audio
Yeah, so
from the mic.
that was fun. We yeah. I don't know what to say beyond that. We're idiots, or I'm an idiot. Whoever's an idiot, someone's an idiot.
So yeah. We'll go. We're just gonna go through all the comments again.
Yep.
On the most recent, not the most recent clip, on the clip we posted about Tom's opinion on why Attack on Titan manga chapter 139 is genius.
Yes.
So we're responding to the comments to those, and yeah.
So let's see. So first off, we have a comment from Derek Lee, who's he starts off with a quote where Eren asks why he asked Reiner, why did my mom have to die that day, and then he goes into the fact that basically Eren, he didn't know until he was in the paths in 122. Then he showed some future memories to his dad, so his dad didn't know that Carla was eaten by Dinah Fritz's Titan, and then he ended up passing the Titan power to his kid because he felt hatred and like wanted revenge for
wanted Eren to continue that.
Yeah. So, and we had said like this is a very true comment.
He's correct here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And why it happened. And now, granted, obviously, when Eren said to Reiner, why did my mom die? Granted, it was Reiner's choice to break down the wall, thus leading to everything.
Yep.
It was Reiner's choice. So essentially, Reiner, even though Reiner didn't kill his mother directly, in theory, Reiner breaking down the wall is what made Eren ultimately decide to send Dinah Fritz Titan after his mother.
Yeah, so I mean, even if he did know, it's still a valid question to ask. I mean, like, because he wouldn't have had to make that choice if they just were to leave the people on Paradis alone.
Mm-hmm.
Which of course, that would be an interesting thing where Eren probably would have just, eventually heard about what was happening, or eventually became just a regular scout, or maybe he would have had the power passed down to him anyway. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened if the wall was never broken.
Yeah.
But essentially, he would have never had to make that choice if it wasn't for Reiner making the choice he made, and forcing Bertolt to kick the hole in the wall. I mean, yeah.
But it's pretty self-explanatory there with that one.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Derek, for your comment on that one. I was going to look at a comment that, replied to our little pin comment, that it's from Mac Menezes. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And basically he says that, like, it would explain why Armin, or why, basically why when Eren said that Armin would save the world in Season 3, it's kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what we thought, too, so thank you.
Another comment is valid.
Yes.
We've got two valid comments right out the gate here.
Yep, so thanks for that one, Mac. Let's see, we got a comment from Zach D. Padova, and he says that, he basically points out how, there's parallels to World War II, and how, basically the atom bombs that the Allied forces dropped on Japan were essentially the rumbling.
Yep.
In a way, which of course I think the Titans are allegorical to nukes.
Exactly.
Especially
the Colossal Titan is literally a nuke.
Yep.
So,
and then a guy who will read his comment later, he replied saying, "No, Eren, destroy the bomb. Will Japanese still surrender knowing America has no more atom bombs? They surrounded because America has more of those atom bombs." Now that's the thing. It's I would say that it's different.
Much different.
And I mean, it's not a bad point that you're making, but I think eventually, because really everyone was after Japan at that point.
Yes.
Like they were screwed.
Germany had already surrendered. The European front had been over for months. It was just the Japanese left, and even the Russians started to help fight the Japanese at this point in time. So back then, it was either we dropped those bombs, end the war, or we invaded Japan, killed more people.
Yeah, and I think that they would have eventually surrendered, and I mean ultimately we, like if Japan didn't surrender, they would have had many more people after them than Paradis does, just because of how many people got killed.
Exactly.
So, while you bring up a question that I think is good to bring up, I think the answer doesn't go in your favor, and Zach responds to that saying like it's just a metaphor, because it's not an exact allegory either, because it's like, Japan was weaker, but like you're trying to claim that like the rest of the world is stronger than Paradis. Like I just don't think it works out the right way.
Exactly.
We got a rather long comment from Dan Henry here, talking about, basically kind of the cycle of hatred kind of stuff, and it kind of gets into the same thing, the same sort of theme that Zach was bringing up about how, technology and the allegory. He brings up how, it's a very, basically like the Eldian Empire used the Titans and killed a bunch of people.
The Marleyans used the Titans, killed a bunch of people. But his question at the end was essentially along the lines of, so like he said, what? Are you telling me that if this world evolved technologically beyond the use of the Titans, they wouldn't create bigger weapons to use?
And that's with including the fact that he said that killing is just kind of like,
Another Tuesday in this world.
That's how he said it. So yeah, we have that comment up there if you want to read through, get exactly what we're saying. But yeah, it's an interesting comment. You bring up some good points. I think we both like the ending. I think we just have some minor differences, but overall, I think we're on the same sort of team here. Yeah. Next comment we got is from Dub Bubonem. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And he wrote a full essay. We're not going to read this. This would take way too long to read. But it's a good essay. He makes points that we agree with everything he said.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure why he posted it. It could be that he wanted to convince us that, or that he didn't watch the video and he thought we were gonna have a negative
view. He watched
view.
just the beginning on it and then was like, okay, copy paste.
Yeah, and obviously, like, there's some people that, they didn't watch the full episode, which I get not doing that because they clicked on it because it's a short video. That's
it's a clip. It was 7.5 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean, but in general, like I think that it's either that he wanted people to see. Yeah. Like, people who were going to comment.
Just like it being explained in a different manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
And then this one guy, Dirt Gawk, said the essay didn't make sense, but I think if you read it, you'll see that it makes sense. So Thank you very much, Dub, or I hope I said your name right, for your comment there.
I'll read this next one. This next one was rather popular. This was the comment that Wei Sun originally posted.
Yeah.
He goes, "What a shonen ending. That is not the Isayama I know. Lelouch ends before Isayama draws the attack on Titan. And different from Lelouch, Eren is representing the island since the Jaeger takeover. Yeah. I'm Eren is just like Jon Snow." I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we haven't seen Game of Thrones or Code Geass, but
I kind of know how Code Geass works, and I will just say, you should never compare one piece of fiction to another, even if there are close or vague similarities.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say that, but I think you have to. I think you have to take it on the merits of its own thing, like when it comes down to it, because you can't say like, "Oh, I think that."
But you can't use it as a basis.
Yeah, like you can't say like, "Oh, well, I think Code Geass did this similar type of ending better, so therefore like AOT is now trash."
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't do that.
And the point about like it being a shonen ending, I mean, really, it's not.
No,
like most
it's really not.
Shonen endings, it's like people are just happy. Like
it's very happy, upbeat, and light.
Yeah, this is like the world is not in a good spot.
Like and if you really dug deep into the anime genres, you could possibly consider this seinen, but this is in reality just a darker shonen.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing with Code Geass. It's very similar, kind of holds the same tone and brings forth in the same way. But like I said, you can't be like, "Oh, well, Code Geass did this better, therefore Attack on Titan is shit."
Yeah.
That's not the case.
And you have to keep in mind too what was leading up to it. I mean, the whole thing beforehand was so great that even if the ending is, even if you think it's just an okay ending,
or subpar,
I mean, the whole thing overall, you
it's
have
great.
to still say it's great.
It's great.
And I mean, this guy, he goes further on. He brings up the Ymir King Fritz thing. We said that later on in the show.
We talked about that.
Which, obviously he didn't see this because this is just a one.
Why is Mikasa? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he starts accusing us of being Eren Mikasa shippers or something, which I'm like,
I could care less about that.
Well, we had a whole clip that will be uploaded probably the night that we're filming this episode, where we talk about how we hate that. But if you had seen the original, the full episode, you'd know that we don't feel that way. I mean, I was.
Why do you love Mikasa? I don't. I mean, I do. LMO. Isayama once commented in the manga that Mikasa is Eren's mother figure. That's blatantly wrong. Is there any clue that Mikasa is the one Ymir been waiting for? 139. I can't find anything.
I think this guy. I mean, it's not English is not his first language, and that's fine. But
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, then there was a huge debate in the comments about how, like, Ymir's love for King Fritz and all sorts of things, and then just a lot of replies. I mean, we won't even go into it. I'll post them in the video. They'll be in quick succession, or whatever the word is, succession. Yeah. And then you'll so you can read them if you want, pause them, read the whole conversation. But yeah, it was not worth reading. It's just a lot of
his comment. It's like you're just like, really, in reality, you're just comparing it to something.
Yeah.
Which in putting Attack on Titan down, which you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
It creates bias.
Yeah. Well, because you have to also keep in mind that, like, different stories, are looking to do different things.
Exactly.
Like, I remember, my mom, she went to film school, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she got her bachelor's degree in. And I was talking to one of her friends who, was in the same program as her, like, when I was out in LA. He works on a few shows that you might know. I don't know what they are, but well, I forget, but there's some Netflix things. But I was talking to him, and he was talking about how he he had a professor that used to, when he was making a movie, and the professor would give him notes, he would always give him things that were like, basically, like, this is what I would do, and it's not like, but not like, here's how to do what you're trying to do better. Mm-hmm. So it's I mean,
it was essentially like, and people have to, like, learn this, and we were learning this by, like, doing this, is that they separate their personal opinions with their professional opinions, or with what they think creatively would be better.
But it's not even, but I mean, making any type of, or really, you have to keep in mind what the people are trying to do. Like, yes. I didn't see Code Geass, but from what I've heard about it, it's a total, like, the way you're supposed to feel after it, the thing you're supposed to take away, like, the state of the world, and, like, even the mastermindedness of the character that did it.
Lelouch.
Yeah, Lelouch. I mean, he, like, basically, it was a totally different thing, and it's making a totally different point.
It's a completely different meaning on top of it. I mean, I vaguely know what happens in it and what the whole point of it is, and it's just like I keep saying, it's just not fair to compare.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say, like, if you're comparing, like, general things, like, if you're comparing, like, plot structure, and you could say, like, this movie doesn't do a good job with plot structure, but this one does. Yeah. But, like, when it gets down to specific things, like oh, this detail here is different. I mean, really,
there's nitpicking.
There's, like, no two stories that are trying to make the same point.
Exactly.
You for instance, you could say that, like, I don't know, you could compare something like, I don't know, you could say, like, the ending of Game of Thrones is bad, but the beginning is great.
Yeah. Same thing with The Walking Dead.
Or you could say that, but then you could compare it and say, like, but I think that the beginning of Game of Thrones is better than the beginning of Lord of the Rings. But, like, the end, but they're different. Like,
completely different.
I mean, they have similarities in some ways. I don't even know what my point there really was. I just think, you can't completely judge enjoyment. Like, there is merit in comparing things if it's depending on what you're comparing.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously, like, you have to keep in mind, like, I think I know what Isayama was trying to do with this.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, I could be, but
just my rule of thumb when reviewing anything, and we do this obviously, but we have also compared, like, King Kong, the plot structure of King Kong, to that of Batman v Superman. But, like, that's just that type of plot. And that's just comparing the plot structure. We're not, like, nitpicking who did what better.
I mean, because it's a similar enough movie that you can, like, you can point
you
something
can really notice it, and it's blatantly obvious.
But yeah, I mean, it all just comes down to keeping in mind what the person,
the creator,
what they were trying to do.
Yes.
And I think that too many people thought the wrong thing about what they wanted, what this story was about. And I honestly think, like, if I, like, say that I'd say probably more like when the anime is done and it has this ending. Maybe it's a little different here and there.
Maybe added more.
I hope. I mean, they're adding new panels to it when the volume comes out, so who knows? There'll be some more content. But whatever it is, like if I were to hand this to somebody who'd never seen the story and like they just binged it, they would think it was a good ending.
Yeah.
The only reason that people think it's bad is because they have been thinking for years. Like
they thought about it too much. They came up with an idea inside their head.
They came
or
up with
like
the
this
wrong
this
point.
man's doing. They're unjustly comparing it to another great shonen.
Or they're just or they're coming up with they thought that. Essentially, they're becoming the people that Isayama was trying to warn against becoming.
Yeah.
At least, in my opinion.
I know. I agree with you.
I think, yeah. I mean, so there's a lot. There's a lot to be discussed. I mean, obviously, these are just the comments we have now. If you made it this far into the episode, you should. I mean, honestly, just comment.
Yeah, we're encouraging you to comment.
Yeah, we'll do this kind of thing. We'll probably we'll what's the word? I'm forgetting.
Whenever we have like an abundance of comments.
Well, even if it's just a couple, because I mean, really, this is probably going to be more like our break segment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen previous episodes, you know that like when we get to a break, we don't really have anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we could do like a 2-minute thing. But we'll refine this a little bit. We'll figure out what.
Also, we're gonna work on like trailer reactions. I'm gonna go home because I haven't seen the Shang-Chi trailer. Record something with that, and we can post that as like a completely separate clip type of thing, or like different, almost like a mini series.
Yeah.
Because trailers don't come out a whole lot.
Yeah.
But if we're here together, we might throw it in at the end of an episode, something like that. But yeah, we have ideas flowing.
Yeah, So yeah, any comments, whether it be about Falcon and Winter Soldier, or if you want to do another response to this, we'll do that. I'm sure we'll probably get more comments. I mean, this particular clip is so popular compared to anything else we've done.
How many views does it have now?
It's like, let's see, we're up to 632, 31 likes, 13 dislikes. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. 17, but kind of 18 comments, because it doesn't. Sometimes it counts ours, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's so leave anything you want.
Leave your opinion if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. Explain why. We want those types of things.
Just obviously do it respectfully. Don't
be a dick about it.
No need to harass. That's the way I put it. But so I guess with that, guys, this finally we have a name. We're happy about that, and it's been a good time talking with you guys. I hope that the technical difficulties didn't ruin the experience if you're on YouTube.
No, next time I gotta charge the camera battery before every episode.
Yes. Yep.
Learning my lesson.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, I've said that probably the third time I've said with that, guys. Yep, it's been a good time talking with you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.